What up? It's your boy, the Incredible Man, and yes, I'm back at it again. And I'm super sorry that I'm late reviewing this episode for you guys. I felt a little under the weather, and I just had to get some rest. But when I dove into this episode, knowing it was coming, I did not expect for it to hit me the way that it did. Now, yes, this episode was absolutely wonderful. We got to see Yami and Charlotte, aka Charlotte, go semi-ham with Lick against the Akuma, but they really weren't. They were just barely holding on with his word soul magic, and then he started using the grimoire, and he released the little weird squiggly stuff from the other world or the other dimension. And let's be real, for my manga readers, that looked way creepier and so much wonderful compared to how it looked in the manga. It looked scary and creepy in the manga as well, but seeing it on screen with the color and the wiggly and the squiggly of it, it looked it looked very weird, but it was so cool at the same time. I went through a lot of emotions this episode. I went through a lot of happy emotions, and then I went through some sad emotions throughout the whole episode as well, and that's what we're going to talk about and dive into, man. This is Black Clover episode 117, discussion / review, man. It went ham. Like I said just a few moments ago, we got to see Lick, Charlotte, and Yami, Lick, and Charlotte fighting the Akuma, and they were putting in work, but it really wasn't doing too much. It was just barely holding on, and then he started using the grimoire, and he released the other world squiggly stuff from the other world, and it looked so good. It was creepy, but it still looked good. So then we jump back and we see a flashback. This episode, we get like a different perspective of everything that actually happened, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But I just wanted to put it out there because please don't fret. I'm going to talk about it. But then, after he releases all of the squiggly stuff, we have Yami trying to save Charlotte, or save Charlotte and Charlotte's body from being attacked by the stuff. His arm gets attacked, and what we learn is that it takes out life energy and magic. It's just sucking all of that out of the room and from the people it comes in contact with. So then at that point, it starts to fill the whole little base in the little castle that they're in, and it starts to go down the hole, and it's starting to attack Asta and Yuno and Nozzle and everybody else that's there. Now, oh boy. In that moment, we got a nice cool shot where we see Nozzle. Nozzle didn't really release his magic. He flew up into the sky, but he didn't release any magic. We see Patry and Yuno releasing their magic, trying to stop it, and their magic was just eaten by the thing. Now, eaten. I can't talk. But anyway, it was eaten by the little consumably wiggly squiggly stuff. And in that moment, it was steady falling down, and it touched Patry, and it kind of burned him, and he was like, stay away from it. And in that moment, it was finna attack Raya and Mimosa. And Asta stepped up like a boss, saved him, and it consumed him. But as you all know, Asta has no magic, so it didn't affect him, and his anti-magic sword negated its powers, and he was able to cut through it. So, what we also learned this episode, that for the non-manga readers, we know that Asta is going to come into play for sure with the anti-magic sword and him not having magic. And Yami's attacks was doing something this episode as well, because he used word soul magic on everybody else's attack. Well, Charlotte and Lick's. But when Yami's attack was launched, he kept avoiding it until that last time Lick kind of bounced it back and it cut off part of his tail. So Yami and Asta is going to be some of the deciding factors for sure. They have to be, to because of their powers. Their powers seem to really be affecting the other world, little squiggly stuff. Well, Asta and Yami's powers seem to be affecting the Akuma. So that's how it's going to go. For sure, it has to be. I mean, let's be real. Now, this is where we get to the meat. This is where it was nice, and then it got sad. It was nice, and then it got sad. Now, we get to see Finral talking to the bird. Now, I've been wanting to say that this was Nero, that Nero has another form where she's a real human girl for the longest. And even on my other channel, Nothing Entertainment 3, I do reactions over there, like openings and other stuff too. So go check that out if you want to. Shameless plug. Seeing her transform into the girl in the new opening and the ending, and I didn't want to spoil it, but I mean, like, I felt like you guys, like anime only watchers, knew who it was, but I still didn't want to be the one to like, well, okay, that's Nero, so you guys be prepared for that. No, I didn't want to be that guy. But yes, finally we can talk about Nero and all of her glory and greatness that is her. And we got to see a flashback. And if you guys have been a fan of my channel for a little while now, you know that I love a good flashback. And this flashback showed us stuff that we didn't see in Licht's and Patri's flashback. Because let's be real, with Patri, his mind was a little distorted and kind of flipped around because of the Akuma. And we see why, because the Akuma was planning something from the jump, and he used the minister and the kingdom, and he tricked the prince, aka the first Clover Kingdom king, Wizard King, and he tricked Licht at the same time this episode. So we got a whole backstory of seeing Nero working with the prince, her getting introduced to him, finding out she was a noble, and because of her magic powers, she wasn't really accepted into nobility, so she had to become like a servant under someone with a far greater power. So there was a lot of stuff going on, and she was like, you could tell, like, they have like a little, they kind of have like a little love thing too, because like when he grabbed her hand and she held it tight, it seems like they got a little love interest thing going on there as well. Maybe even if she never acted on it, maybe probably one of those things that, well, I always loved him and I always enjoyed watching him from a distance and just watching him do what he does. But we see where they started and how they became friends, and he's just like Julius. Like, he's so intrigued by new magic and helping the people and trying to unite the people, and that's what he was trying to do with the humans and the elves. But like I said, we knew that Akuma had something planning from the jump. So he planned all of this. He trapped the first Wizard King, but Nero came and saved him, but everything was too late. And this is when it got sad. This is when it got super, super sad for me, because we found out some stuff that we didn't see from the other flashbacks. And that is that the Wizard King made it there, but he was too late. His sister and all of the other elves were dead. The humans were tricked, and the Akuma's just sitting right there waiting, trying to take over Licht's body. But at that moment, Licht looks up and he was like, this was so cool and so great to me. He looked up and he was like, I knew that it wasn't you, and I'm sorry that I doubted you for a moment. And like you could tell, he was starting to get a little corrupted. But at the same time, when he saw that, he acknowledged that he came back to his senses. But there was already so much negative energy and dark matter filled within him that he couldn't just let it go. So he sacrificed himself and turned himself into the big demon that we all seen from the very first episode in Asta and Yuno's village, that was dead and was killed by the first Wizard King. This man lost all his clansmen, his fiance, his wife, his baby. He lost his best friend and everything. And the only thing he was thinking of was sacrificing himself. Dude, how great is that? People that, I constantly say this when I review an episode of Black Clover, people that gave up on Black Clover, you gave up way too soon. I know the first couple episodes they didn't really draw anybody in, but after you get past that initial point, you should have stuck it out, man, because we are in the presence of greatness, man. This is absolutely fantastic. This man lost everything and was still only thinking about saving the people. How freaking awesome is that? That is crazy. That's great writing for one. But that is just epic. And to see it on screen where he transformed into the full-fledged huge demon that we know, and see the bones and skull fragments and everything in Asta and Yuno's village was absolutely wonderful, man. Then we also have this episode with Nozo saying him and Mimosa are going to go one way and try to prevent and help everyone escape, because he had Noelle in mind, because she has faster movement to help try to get out of this place. And he sent Licht, and Asta to go combat the Akuma with Yami and Charlotte and Licht. So I'm super Patri. Did I say Patri? I think I did. But I'm super excited, man, because this episode it gave me the greatness, and we got to see a flashback and get a different perspective. And that's what I love the most about this episode. And we got to see that part of Licht that us manga readers loved from since we read the manga. Now you anime only watchers get to enjoy that greatness that is Licht as well, because he sacrificed everything just to say, man, that is freaking greatness, man. I don't care what anybody says. This episode, it felt like it moved along really super fast to me. Like everything was done at they showed everything and they kind of explained everything, and I'm super okay with that. But it just felt like it was so fast paced, man. It's like the moment you started watching, bam, 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 it ended, and I was like, no, I wanted more. I needed more, because this episode was just that good, and I loved every single minute of it, man. And this is your boy, Dick Incredible. Don't forget to smash that like button till you can't smash it anymore. Comment down below, and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them. And subscribe, but only if you really want to, man. Remember that anime matters, anime is greatness, and anime is life, man. Peace out.